What's going on, guys? Welcome to Exotics Anonymous. Today we're going to be talking about Mercedes because they just did another electric car stunt, and I kind of want to talk about if they should even be spending their time on these things anymore or if it's still a good idea to be doing. Before we get too deep into this, I am a big Mercedes fan. One of my favorite cars ever is a Mercedes E63S. That's probably my favorite non-supercar, period. I like the GT63S as well. I like anything with that big 4-liter V8. And any of their bigger cars. I'm not a big C63 person. It's never really messed with me, but S63, E63, I love those kind of cars. I'm not a Mercedes hater by any means, but I am getting a little confused by what they're spending their time on nowadays, because the trend has shown recently that electric cars are not the way of the future, at least for the next 10 to 15 years. And they're still spending time breaking world records with their electric car. So let's talk about what they did yesterday. So yesterday, Mercedes took their new AMG GT XX concept car. It's all electric. It's supposed to be super aerodynamic. It's like the new generation of Mercedes electric car, and it's a 4-door. They went 3,405 miles with it in 24 hours, shattering the record previously held by Rimac, I believe, for an electric car's most amount of distance traveled in 24 hours. They had one of their F1 drivers circling in to keep the car going. Like, they put a lot of effort into this. And I'm just a little confused about why, because we're seeing electric car sales pretty much plummet across the board, especially for the German manufacturers. Tesla's still doing okay, but Audi can't sell the RS e-tron GTs. They're having to lease them for like $500 a month. The Porsche Taycan's barely selling anymore too. I know that Turbo GT one is going for decent money, but that's like such a niche thing that the people paying for that actually want something like that. So the German car EVs are not doing well, and Mercedes EVs, the EQS and the EQE, I'm pretty sure they've been having to do crazy lease deals on those just to get rid of them. So I don't understand why Mercedes is still, making a big deal out of breaking a record for an EV car when clearly their customers don't really want that. I mean, even hybrids for Mercedes, look at the failure of this new C63. They're developing a new V8 now just because of how bad this car has been performing. Most people are preferring the combustion engine version of the GT63S over that hybrid one because it feels so heavy that the extra power doesn't even, do anything. It's basically this. I believe the electric one has a worse power to weight ratio than the regular GT63S. So I don't understand what they're doing. And I'm talking about the 4-door GT63S. I don't know about this newer GT63S 2-door E-Performance thing. That's another problem Mercedes is having. The names are getting way too complicated. The average person cannot keep up with these names. So basically, I don't understand, why is Mercedes taking all this time and this effort and this money to go set new electric car records? I mean, unless they're trying to make a comeback with the electric car stuff, but their electric cars haven't been doing well. Nobody's electric cars have really been doing that well other than Tesla, and I guess you could say BYD, but they're not even at the US market. Also, I find it strange that a lot of these new hybrid Mercedes, I barely even see them. Like the new S63s, I hardly ever see unless I'm at the Mercedes dealer. Same thing with the GT63 SEs. I don't think I've ever even seen one in person, and I would notice them. I see the regular GT63Ss, even like the 2023, facelifted ones driving around. I never see the hybrid one. So I don't know if they even work. I want Mercedes to do well because I like the cars they make, and I hope the new E63 that they're supposedly developing this new V8 for, because of the failure of the hybrid C63, I hope that car is great. I want, there to be a good E63 in the future. Keeps competition healthy, especially with BMW with the M5, and hopefully Audi with this upcoming RS6 that's supposed to have a sedan option for the first time in like 20 years. So there's a lot of exciting things going on in the big German car world, but I don't know why Mercedes is still pushing this electric stuff. It doesn't really make sense to me, financially for them, because it really seems like hybrids are going to be the way to go for the next, decade at least. Emissions aren't really a big concern for the next 4 years at least in the US. So, and we're their biggest market. So hopefully they can make cars that work, at least for over here. I know Europe has their own regulations and everything, but find ways around them. At one end of the spectrum, they're doing really good things, still putting the V8 in the cars and combining it with the hybrid, getting up near 800 horsepower on like the new S63. But these electric cars that they're making, nobody seems to like really. And this GTXX concept thing doesn't even, it doesn't look that good. I know it's not like the final production version, but the looks aren't really there. I know they put some sound in, so it sounds like an engine. Cool, I guess. But we all would just rather have an engine. So I don't know what they're really going for here. Instead of focusing so much time on the electric car, this AMG GT XX, you've got a new AMG GT platform. We haven't seen a GTR yet. We haven't even seen like something called a GTS or GTC. I know they get like the GT Pro, but again, confusing name that doesn't follow the last model they just did. What I don't know what they're doing. They're spending their time on the wrong things. Their interiors have become way too screen. There's too many tablets, too many iPads. They're going the wrong direction basically everywhere, it feels like. And I thought that like some of the manufacturers were starting to get it. I thought Mercedes was one of them because they're developing a new V8 again. But they're still wasting time on this electric stuff that isn't going to be, you know, big money for them anywhere soon. They made their AMG 1 hypercar and didn't even make it homologated for the US. I mean, people are having to jump through so many hoops just to get them imported. It seems like they're messing up everywhere. So I don't know why. So I hope Mercedes can fix what they're doing. It seems like Audi's on the right path right now. They're acknowledging they've had some like interior quality issues and they're working on them. And BMW, you know, at least they're innovating and trying new things still, even if they're not coming out great. Mercedes is just like latching onto this electric car thing and trying to make it work, and it just doesn't seem like it's going to work. And now what I do like that's coming from this electric car stuff is they're doing very good aerodynamic work. Apparently this electric concept thing is one of the most aerodynamic things like ever built, period. And take those aerodynamic learnings and put them on your GT63S, put them on your, you know, AMG GTs, and make, you know, super aerodynamic gas cars. What are you going to get out of a car with that level of aerodynamics? Probably 30, 40, 50 miles a gallon out of a twin turbo V8 car. Perfect world. Then we've got efficient engines that are also fun for people to drive. Environmental people are happy, car people are happy. Boom, meet in the middle. That'd be great. But instead they're still pushing this all electric concept thing. It doesn't really seem like it's gonna, you know, any of the good stuff is trickling into their regular cars. So I just feel like they're spending their time and their resources in the wrong place, and it'd be nice if they could refocus and bring things back to, you know, what Mercedes used to be, making powerful cars that people like to drive, that were also luxurious. You know, just stick to what you've been doing for decades. Honestly, I think Audi is kind of the perfect case study for this right now. They're still going to make electric cars, and they're also making their combustion cars, and they're keeping them completely separate. Like, there's going to be a new RS6 e-tron, but there's also going to be an RS6 with a twin turbo V8. There might be some hybrid in the RS6 too, but I think that's just emissions related at this point, and performance related too. I mean, this outgoing RS6 performance seems like it was as fast as you could get the car to go without adding a hybrid system. Maybe they could get a little more power out of the V8, I guess. They could probably always find a way to do that. But in general, they're making two separate things. There's going to be an electric version and a gas version. And I feel like Mercedes is kind of just moving on to the electric stuff and kind of forgetting the gas cars that they've made for decades that have made them popular and gotten them to where they are today. So my whole point here is that they need to start focusing on the cars that are important to their brand and their heritage, and not making these electric cars that, to be honest, car enthusiasts are never going to love like they used to, you know, the important cars anyways. So keep making the important cars, and then if you want to mess around with the electric stuff too. But I feel like they're making the electric like their main focus, and I don't think that's a good move. Okay, so I think that's pretty much going to conclude my rant on Mercedes electric cars today here. I don't want to go on too long about this. Basically, hopefully they can get back to what they, you know, were good at for decades. Really, I just want to see them start doing well again, because I love the cars they used to make, and I want to see them make new ones. And I think they're kind of wasting their time with some of this electric stuff, and should really be focusing on making their gas cars better, because they kind of haven't lived up to expectations the last couple of years. And it'd be nice to see them get back on the ball and, you know, get back to competing with, you know, Porsche and BMW and Audi. Just get back to being great at what they do. So hopefully if anyone from Mercedes sees this video and wants to talk about anything, I'd love to give you some input or help in any way I can. And if you guys like videos like this talking about, you know, relevant car topics, leave me some ideas down below if you have anything you want me to talk about, and check out my channel and share with your friends and everything. I do a lot of videos like this, so please subscribe and stick around, and I'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye-bye.